Well, I got a good day for this. It's relatively cool. It's only about, I don't even think it's 7 o'clock in the morning yet, so it's kind of early. Sunrise was at 5:40, I think, here in Siem Reap. So it hasn't really gotten up to the 35, 40 degrees that we've had for the past week. Apparently, there is a section that you're allowed to climb, and this is it. You're not climbing on the rock steps, though. They did install wooden steps that goes up to the temple. Well, I'm going for it. If you don't hear from me again, you know it didn't go well. Well, after that climb, you definitely need to take a breather. Let's go see what it looks like from the top. I'm in sort of an alcove here off to the side. It's right next to where the steps coming up was. But you have a nice breezy view of the forest and part of the temple complex. I'm already pretty high up, but there are things that are even higher. I don't think there's any access to it, though. I don't see people going up there. I'm still on the upper level here. When I came up, it certainly did not look this big from the ground. I'm sure all of my viewers know that Angkor Wat is a World Heritage Site. I saw a couple walking along one of the hallways up here at the top of the temple, and he said, "Honey, what's the name of this place again?" So there are people that did less research about this than I did. When you read about this place, you're always told about the bas-relief that is on the walls and pillars and everything else. You don't realize it, but it's everywhere. It's so ubiquitous that you forget about it. But anywhere you look, you'll find something like that. I'm thinking that going down is going to be a little bit harder than going up. We'll see in a second. Well, my intent was to record my descent on the staircase, and I was halfway down and realized I had not pressed record. So you only saw a part of that. That's if it made it through the edit. But I did have a good point. The stairs here are sturdy, there's no doubt of that, but they're not evenly spaced apart. They're close, but not quite. So be careful, watch your step. Also, when you're wandering around, you're going to find dozens of little, I don't want to say nooks and crannies, but they're hallways and tunnels everywhere. They're marked, but because of where they are and the time of day, lots of people don't explore them because they're tired. It's starting to get a little hot. It's humid, of course. So a lot of these things are, once you find them, you're in them on your own. Like this, I have no idea what this is. but I'm the only one here. If you've watched the video so far, you probably know that this started out as a Hindu temple early in the 12th century. And at some point soon after, it was switched over to a Buddhist temple. Lots of the iconography you see, especially in the bas-relief, is Buddhist. There is some Hindu iconography also. Here's one of those stone steps that's not blocked off, so I imagine you could go up and down it. I'm not going to do that. Always be prepared. Came across a hallway that is completely dark. Couldn't see if there were steps there or not. Apparently there are. You may recognize this walkway. This is where we came in about 4 hours ago. The main temple is behind me. After a couple hours of climbing all over those temples and up to the top and over the steps within the temples, this walk back to the entrance is really a lot longer than it seemed this morning. I'm tempted to jump under one of these sprinklers. Here's something I didn't notice when I came in this morning, is that there's a wall around this entire temple area. It's not very big, and it is pretty far from the main temple, but I didn't notice it now until I started to come out. Still exiting. This is the bridge across the moat that surrounds the Angkor Wat complex. Supposedly the moat is 5 kilometers around. And over there, you can see the walkway for the entrance. That's where we came in this morning. This is one of those temporary bridges. It's kind of odd to be walking on this. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just floating on top of the moat. Okay, I'm about 300 meters from the entrance to the park itself, where all the transport is available. My original plan to come here, which I'm glad I didn't stick to, I was going to walk out here. Now, in theory, you could walk here. It's about 4 or 5 kms from town. But if you did that, you would be beat by the time you got here. And you certainly wouldn't enjoy anything. This morning we're off to a place that many of you might recognize, and that is the temple here in Siem Reap, where part of the film Tomb Raider was filmed. It's Ta Prohm is the name of the temple. It's also called, appropriately enough, Tomb Raider Temple. And it's out near the Angkor Wat complex. In fact, it's a little bit beyond it. Well, I'm about to go into the Tomb Raider temple, and it looks like I picked a perfect day for it. It's only 28 degrees. My trip to Angkor was 35, and that was at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm in the forest now, but I can't see the temple, so I'm going to have to find my way. I said a minute ago about how the weather is so much nicer today than it is, or than it was when I went to Angkor Wat. The humidity is coming up. You can tell a little bit. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's going to get much more humid and probably a lot hotter. But right now, and on the ride out here, it was just wonderful weather. Yesterday, I had doubts about coming out here today because the weather for the entire week was supposed to be heavy rain. And yesterday morning, while out on my walk, it was very heavy rain. But today, no rain in sight. Well, as you can see, I had to take a few minutes to suit up. So this towel is going to come in really handy today. That wonderful story that I had earlier about how it's nice and cool and low humidity, all of that's changed. I am covered with sweat just standing around. There's no breeze here at all. We're inside a wall to begin with, and then the whole complex is inside a forest area. So for there to be wind in here, it would practically have to be a hurricane. Or I guess in this part of the world, a typhoon. Well, I stopped to take a breather and give a short trip update. Those that are paying attention will be happy to know that I now need a belt with all my pants and shorts. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it today. Would have really come in handy. All right, on with the show. When I did a little research about this temple before I came out, it's not quite as old as Angkor Wat. It was built in the late 12th century. And its claim to fame, I think, is that it was built without mortar. So all these rocks and boulders and stones have been held together without that. And one of the concerns is that the trees that are growing, it looks like right into the walls and structures themselves, are actually holding the stones together. They're weakening the mortar, but the roots that are growing around the stones are actually a big part of what's holding the walls up. This temple was also abandoned for a while, which is probably why it doesn't look as, I guess, rebuilt as Angkor Wat does. They spent a lot more time and effort at Angkor Wat because it's been in use for much longer. This one was abandoned shortly after it was built. I don't know for how long, but it wasn't until much later on that they started to use it again. If you do come to Siem Reap to visit these temples, you could rent a bicycle and ride a bicycle out here. There are bicycle paths, the roads are well maintained, and traffic moves fairly slowly compared to some other countries I've been in. So it's very safe taking a bicycle out here, in my opinion. I wish I had known I could do that. If I did know that, I would have brought some cycling clothes with me. But alas, that didn't happen. Can't see the steps. Now I can't find the exit. If there is a photo to be bombed, this is the place to do it. I used to think it was the Pinta Saloma in Kuala Lumpur, but I'm changing my mind. I think I've been in at least 20 other people's photographs. Yes, it's true. Ta Prohm Temple also has buskers for your entertainment pleasure. And you probably noticed in this video that there's a combination of things from both the Tomb Raider Temple, which is Ta Prohm, and Angkor Wat. I don't know enough about either one of them to make a separate video about them, so I just mix them together. The architecture, it's not exactly the same, but it's visually impressive, so I thought I'd just combine them both into the same video. That's it from the World Heritage Site at Angkor here in Cambodia. Thanks for watching, and be seeing you.